Did it. I honestly didn't think I was going to have to do that much hitting. Oh, brakes should only be installed by someone experienced and competent. Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on YouTube. Dave here on the Area 51 just for a change. Gonna start putting together the Heidts independent front end, but before I can do that I've got to paint some stuff. I've already done a bit and a few other little bits and pieces, but I thought I'd just start getting things ready to actually start bolting it all back on. That way it gets it out of the way and one step closer to rolling. I'll do that before I start on the old differential over there. So let's get at it. I've already been painting up some bits and pieces, sway bar stuff and tie rod ends and sway bar engine mounts. These little round things are spaces for the rack and pinion, so I kind of got onto those yesterday, and some stuff I've already done, like the night before Christmas stuff that fell flat. My poem anyway. Oh, these aren't front ends things, but they are. But before I can kind of go too much further, I want to kind of tidy up my rotors. First time I've actually taken these off the spindles. They've never been greased, so I've got to pack all the bearings and all that as it all goes back together. But I thought I might paint up these centers, these here, paint the centers up just so they don't rust. I won't do anything with these because they're obviously going to get brakes running on them eventually, and that'll keep them, or get them, you know, like not rusty. So I'm just going to kind of paint up this kind of hub part, just give it a bit of a squirt with some rust fix stuff, the Duplicolor stuff, and then I'll just give them a bit of a squirt with some black as well, just to kind of, just so they're not like scody, rusty things. I'll get chipped and knocked around putting wheels on and off, but at least it'll protect them somewhat. But I was thinking, how am I going to mask these off neatly? So I've got a plan, and I'm going to obviously get the total radius of this, and I'll cut a circle in here, and that way I can just lay this cardboard template kind of over the top, just go psh, and then pull that off, do the other one, and be done. So let's go to get ahead and cut that template, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so that's my cardboard template. So what I'll do is I can just go spray that and then lift that off and go and put it onto the other one. So it doesn't have to be a super neat edge around here. I mean, I just really don't want to get heaps of paint and stuff on the rotor surface where it meets the pads. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go and quickly go and spray that one while I take that one apart and clean it up, and do them one at a time. That way I'm not trying to pull the template off while it's wet and stuff, because don't want that kind of, you know, making a mess of it. Alrighty, so they're pretty much dry now. I'll leave them there to kind of cook up a bit in the old bake oven, and template worked well. While I was waiting for those to dry, I thought I'd go through all the hardware for this Heidts Mustang II independent front end. Now I didn't buy this, I bought this. It kind of came with the Area 51 that was already welded in, as I've said before in previous videos, but I got like a bag of nuts and bolts and crap that came with it, so I'm just trying to figure out what some of it is. And obviously these grease nipples, grease certs, I think that is just some random nut that ended up in there. That looks like a galvanized construction thing, so I'll file that into not supposed to be there, but all the caps, split pins, strangely odd number of split pins, missing 2 grease nipples, or grease certs as you call them. These 2 here fit in the tie rod ends, these 2 here fit in nothing, so I don't know what's going on there. Bunch of washers, the boots and that for the ball joints and stuff, which is pretty self-explanatory. These pieces here I think are something to do with the old 4-link that came with it, which I'm not using. It's a Heim joint 4-link, got ends on it, and I think they're like the spacers and stuff like that you use and shit. I'm not sure. I'd have to dig it all out and have a look, but I don't know where half of this stuff is at the moment. So yeah, and these 3-4 screws, no idea what they are for, but they were in the, they might be for something else, but they were in the bag of fasteners and that for the old Heidts Mustang II front end. So maybe I should actually go and see if I can find the instructions online or the parts list or whatever that comes with it, and it might kind of give me some indication of what some of that stuff is. So probably the way to go, but at the very least I'm going to have to track down some grease nipples for the ball joints, because those ones just don't fit. They don't even feel like they would be forced in, so I'm going to have to figure that out. Okay, so had some lunch, did some homework on this IFS Heidts front end and stuff like that. Couldn't really find much online, didn't look that hard, but I did find some of the paperwork that came with it. So that's got a kind of bunch of instructions and parts list and stuff, but it has nothing really on there about the grease nipples. Now I've spent a fair bit of time kind of researching grease nipples and looking at grease nipples, and that sounds weirder than it actually is, because what I'm talking about is these little mammy jams. Now I also kind of was having a look at these sort of thing, and there doesn't seem to be a thread tapped into this hole where the grease nipple goes, so I just kind of forced one in, just tightening it up, so, and it went in and it's going to hold, I think. So it's just kind of cross threaded on there, but once it's on there, it should be on there for the life of the ball joint, so should be alright maybe. But I'd run a little pick inside that hole where into the back of the ball joint, and can't feel any kind of thread in there, so I'm assuming, I don't know what it is. But anyway, I'm going to move on. I haven't got enough grease nipples to do all 4 ball joints anyway, so I'm going to move on and start assembling this front end and put the grease nipples on my list of stuff to get, and I will get them, so let's get on with it. Okay, so got the rack on and got one thing on there. I haven't tightened anything up or anything yet, just for obvious reasons. Boy, what a mission getting those bottom arms on. First off, I had the big long bolt going in the wrong direction. I thought it would be more sensible to have it coming from the back forward, but there's heaps of excess and it's real close to the boot on the rack. Hopefully you can see that, but I don't know if that's normal on a Mustang II front end, but it's close to the boot. Moving parts shouldn't really be an issue, I think, maybe, but we'll see. Anyway, side 2, so I can hopefully do it at a more reasonable pace than the first one. Far out, she's getting hot, so I'd better get into that then. Okay, so I'll try and film this. I don't know how successful that'll be, probably won't be able to see much of anything at all, but I might start with kind of getting this into position and getting the bolt going through. If I can find it. Alright, because I've got to get one of these washers in between there and there. Might try for the skinnier of the two. Hang on. How did I do this in a sensible way on the other side? Don't think I want that in there just yet. Take that back out. Okay, got the washer in there. Nothing's particularly well lined up though. Alrighty, so got there in the end. Did I damage that thread? Don't think so. Oh, she's just a little snug. Right, so yeah, got there in the end. Got that managed to knock the centre out of that bush, which I couldn't do the other day when I was trying, but yeah, I got there. So I might just pinch these up just a little bit, and just so they can kind of hold their weight a bit, you know, like so. Alrighty, so got both of those on, got them kind of pinched up at ride height so they'll kind of hold their own weight until we get more stuff hanging off them. The only thing that really annoys me about putting newly painted things together is making grubby marks all over everything. I'm gonna put those boots on, don't let me forget. Right, I suppose I'll do the top arms now. Figure them middleman jams out, they're nice and easy, they don't have any dramas to deal with, so I'll do that. Next up, just gotta get these on here loosely to start with. Okay, not that loose. What's going on there? No damage to the thread or anything? No. Right. Maybe she just needs a little bit of violence brought on just to get it in there. They got these freaky little things. How do these work? Can't remember now. They got this weird little kind of curvy sort of locking thing on there. It locks into those dog bones. sure the knurling side goes down. Okay, if you didn't know. I've dropped something. Lost it already. How did that go? I heard it hit the ground, but I don't know where it went after that. There, did it go over the other side with the other one? Nope. Try looking at it from a different perspective. Oh, away fly. Back in a minute. I'm sure I heard it hit the ground, honestly. It was just sitting there. So I'll get the other one of these in there and then do the other side and check back in a minute. Just setting that up about half and half on the allotted slottage for now, till once this thing's all rolling, and then you can do a wheel alignment from there, I guess. But I'll just put it about halfway. That seem sensible. A bit of grease in there, and these things kind of a little bit unusual as well, in the respect that they kind of just tighten up, and then that's it. If they're not super tight and you wiggle it, the nut comes undone. So quick kind of question, do you reckon, if anyone knows anything about these Mustang II front ends and this style of top arm and stuff, should it have Loctite on these nuts? I kind of lean towards it should. Just as an extra precaution that it doesn't come undone. I haven't put it on there just now, but I'm quite happy to undo these and chuck a bit of Loctite on them later on. So once they're kind of tight, that's like, feels real kind of notchy. Is that how they are? I really don't know. And that's not even super duper tight. Oop. Rough. If that's like real tight, just like that. It's still not even really super duper tight. That's just weird. I don't know. Someone explain. This is just a strange, weird little front end. Taking a bit of slack. I got a bit more movement then, but you can run the risk of it undoing the nuts, you know. That's what makes me think Loctite might be the solution to that. Anyway, that's both of those on. I suppose I'll put the spindles on now and take it from there. It seems like these are left and right, so that's the left. The other one's got an R on it, so I'm assuming that must just go that way. So I started second guessing whether I had this on the right side or the left side or the wrong side, just because of that. It just looks like it's got a negative positive camber, so it looks like it's kind of tilting out a little bit. But I went and got the other one, and to get that to go on there, that means the tie rod point would just be up high, so definitely got on the right spot. So tighten those up, get some split pins in there, got the bush boots on, so we're good to go according to my logics. A little bit more. Yes. Alright, split pins. Oh, need a bit more. Oh, I did the wrong one in there. Just what? Well, maybe not. That one doesn't want to go in there. That split pin that was in there was just way too tight. It didn't want to be in there, you know. So I'm going to go for the smaller sized ones. Okay, so spindles are on, tight, split pinned, boots are on. Before it was tightened and split pinned. Well, I had a thought while I was doing that I could possibly kind of get a little bit, my kind of camber sort of roughed in at this stage, because I know that these bottom A arms are to be kind of pretty much level at ride height. So which way does that need to go? Let's go down. So I can actually set this for my camber rough approximately, but there we go, it's zeroed out. So that's saying it's 2.55 degrees positive. Oh, damn it. So where's my ratchet? There it is. I'll loosen these off again. I can't do the caster because I'm not that smart at this point. So if I go it needs to go to like 1 degree negative, ideally, according to the book. So yes, it's not quite going over far enough, but I should be completely honest and say that my ride height, my bottom arms aren't going to be quite level, so they'll be kind of up a little bit, which will give me a little bit more camber at ride height, not caster, camber. Apparently these front ends, to do caster, you kind of just slide one of those back and forwards and stuff, but yeah, I don't know how that works. I think you get a line between your ball joints, a centre line there. I would need some kind of special tool to be able to do that accurately, because I don't reckon I could ichrometer it that well. But yeah, so that, I just thought I'd share that with you. So just tighten these up a little bit more. Cranked up, ruined the paint. Cool. Okay, so just got grease on the camera. Just got to pack the bearings in the manner that I was taught. So I just sort of kind of put a big blob of grease in the palm of my hand, and you just kind of like scoop it, forcing it into the bearings, the rollers, until it sort of can sort of see it's in amongst the rollers and well and truly in there. Start to squeeze out the other side. Now you want to get the grease right into your bearings, so it's better to take the time and do it well and truly. So just chuck a big gob of grease inside the hub as well, not the hub, probably the right word, before I forget. Just so once it heats up and all starts flowing around the place, this can kind of feed back into it, if that makes sense. Hopefully. I don't know really, I just saw someone else say something about doing that and I thought, oh, that's not a bad idea. So there we have it, so I can check. Bearing in there. Oh, I need more grease to pack the last bearing. Just like that. Alright. Get rid of those for now. Yeah. Gotta press these seals in. I really need a rag and a seal pressing tool, which I haven't got either. Well, I've just got a rag, but I haven't got a seal pressing tool, so I have to find something to do that with. Dead blow hammer, maybe. Pen tool. Perfect. Ninja. Right. More grease on there. Right, seals in. Right, let's put these rotors on. So, here we go. I didn't grab a rag. That's right. Get on. We've got to chuck a bearing in there. Let's wipe that on the bin. Get this little fancy pants wash. Oh, I dropped the nut. It's got one of those little thingy bobs in there. It's got to go in there. And then I really need a rag. Not the best rag, but it was close at hand. little on the tight side. Found out what those big split pins were for that I was trying to use earlier. That's for this. Tight. And come back quarter of a turn. And then make that in there. Split pin. It's going to interfere with the cap. You can have it. Maybe. Why do the simplest things want to fight me? I can't get this cap on. Man, never. Might just have to. Are you serious? I'll tell you what. Really testing my patience, man. Feeling like I need to hit it much harder. Did it. I honestly didn't think I was going to have to do that much hitting with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I thought if I hit it that hard I was going to dent it and stuff like that, but it's on there now, so nice greased up sounding bearings. Alright, I'll go ahead and do the other side. Yeah. Alrighty, got both the spindles and that on. This side actually came in a lot easier getting that cap on once I knew how much violence I could kind of give it to get it on there, which is quite a bit more than I thought I was going to actually. Next up, I guess tie rod ends. Yeah, do the tie rod ends, see if I can get a kind of the toe roughly in thing without any wheels on. So I might just do some measuring and see if I can get it kind of closest. I have no idea where the steering is on the rack though, to be honest. 1344. Alright, get on there. $13.40. So it's 4mm difference from front to back. So that's fast and dirty kind of ish wheel alignment for the toe. So it should be, you know, it's probably a little bit out, obviously, but it'll give us a starting point. So right, tighten those up, and then we're on to the next thing. Okay, right, next step, might put these brake calipers and that on. Not that it's going to need brakes for quite some time, but I just kind of want to see them on there. And it's got these little brackets I painted this morning, hardware, nuts, bolts, washers, shims. I'm not quite sure what the deal with that is, where I've got a shim stuff. Something to do with where you mount the caliper. Must be getting it to run true on the old rotor. So we'll start with putting this bracket tray on. Now I think there's no marking on it which says left or right. I don't even know if this is going to be legal here in New Zealand because it's welded. It's welded here. They don't like welded brake components because they are a pain in the ass. But man, these get sold all over the world, but it's only here we have a problem with them. But anywho, right, Loctite, lots of, just a little dabby dab on there. If this gets knocked back for this welded part, I really don't know what the option will be actually, but we'll figure that out when we come to that. Right, where does that one go? Hopefully I got the right side on. Find out when I tighten it up, I guess. Looks like an even distance between the two. So tidy. Right, next side socket. Right, so that's the bracket on there. Let's have a look at one of these calipers. Got these calipers with the 51. They're some sort of Willwood. Is there a right or a left? Got a piece of paper in there. And there's bleeders on both top and bottom. So I wonder if they're, you know, like ambidextrous. Let's have a look at the other one. There's bleeders on there. Oh, there's a bit of paper that might have instructions on it. Use only dot something. Dot 4 or dot 5.1. Yeah, that's no problem. Brakes only include something. Oh, brakes should only be installed by someone experienced and competent. Additional information, guide warning, untested brakes, okay, whatever. What does this one say? Only use the uppermost bleeder, do not use the lower bleed screws, must be dismounted and rotated bleeds. Oh yeah, so they are ambidextrous. Cool. What is that? Come on. Okay. Oh, they've got 4 pistons. And big split pin. goes that way. Let's get a couple of bolts in here and see what they do. Don't know if I'm going to need those shims. They seems to be nice and centered. I'll tighten them up and see what happens. Make sure the bolts don't come out the other side and stab into the disc. That would not be cool. Oh, that one's not even in there. It's typical. Alright, we're away now. Get it tight. Have a look and see what it's likely to need, if anything. Possibly could. Actually, yeah, could do with a shim or two. Doesn't need much, I don't reckon. Alrighty, so that's that sort of shimmed. It'll be a bit different once there's sort of some fluid and that running through them, I imagine, but that'll do us for now. Alright, I've got to bend that split pin over. Okay, so got both calipers on. This one took a little bit more shimming for some reason. It must just be the variances with the old aftermarket bracketry and stuff. I just noticed that these have got bleeders on both sides, top and bottom. Obviously the bottom side you don't use, but I've never bled calipers that have got two bleeders, you know, like, so I'm assuming you'll bleed the furthest one out first and then bleed in, check, bleed, check, do it again, check it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, interesting. Never come across that before, but we'll figure it out when the time comes. So, getting some stuff together. Choice. Still got a few other things to put on the front end. Obviously the airbags. I haven't got the bags that I want to use yet. Shocks. I have got the shocks. I've got the bracketry. I just need some washers. They're on my list. So I can put the bushes back in, or bushings, whatever you want to call them, for the engine mounts. I've still got to get those grease nipples for, not for that side, I've got one for that side, but the two underneath ones. And all of those ball joints and stuff have got to be greased yet. Don't really forget. Bearings all done, everything's all cranked down tight. If I don't kind of do it now, I might forget, and then I'll be, you know, 6 months, year down the road, whenever I do finally get to drive this thing, something will go rattle, rattle, clunk and fall off. So, yeah, I want to make sure if I'm putting it together, I'm putting it together now. The only things I haven't really tightened up are these. They're tight, but they're going to get adjusted, but I just haven't tightened those outside top A-arm bolts yet. Let me know if you reckon they should be Loctited, because when you tighten them up tight, that kind of puts a lot of load on those rubber bushings. So could be the way they're supposed to be, I don't know. Never had a Mustang II style front end before, so if you know, let me know in the comments down below. Be real cool. Yeah, so carry on. Hey guys, next day. So that's as far as we got yesterday. I think if you're still watching, you saw that. Just been down to the old hardware store and bought some nuts and bolts and stuff, and being that it's still technically a public holiday, kind of limited to what I could get. So I got some stuff, got some more split pins, because I actually figured out what those little collars are for. They're actually a spacer that I was supposed to put in there. So the because that, what do you call it, the split pin doesn't really gonna go through the castle nut properly, so I've got to take those back off and put those in so the castle nut goes far. That up far enough. You get what I'm saying? So that's no biggie. I'll just quickly undo those. Had to get some more split pins because I used them on there, and I'll just put some new ones in. It should got a variety of nuts and bolts for a few other things. I started making a list the other day of nuts and bolts and washers and shit like that I need, and I should have really wrote what they were for on there because I can't remember what half of them are for now. So yeah, things like shock bolts and stuff, some of the bigger ones I couldn't get because the old hardware doesn't carry anything really bigger than sort of 1/2 inch or 12 mil, and I needed some 16 mil, and I got written on my list 14 mil washers, but I'm buggered if I can remember what they're for. So I'll figure that out when I go to put something together and I need some big washers and I haven't got them. So anyway, and got some more grease nipples, grease zerks, whatever you want to call them, for the underside of those ball joints. They should fit, hopefully. Just kind of loosely tried one and it seemed to be in the kind of ballpark at least. So yeah, so what shall I do then? Maybe start bolting some of this more stuff together for what I can do. Oh, I got some bolts for my engine mounts as well to mount onto the block because I only had a mismatched bundle of 3 from when I mocked it up. So yeah, I'll start off with fixing that castle nut thing, so then that's done, finished. And there's their little spacer in there, and so the castle nut, the split pin goes through the castle nut properly. Pretty tight tolerance, so you've got to get them just right, and then you got to tap that little split pin through, so that worked good. Seems to be a thing with these Mustang II front ends, apparently. Looked it up on the interweb last night. Alright, just going to fit this grease nipple here. Hopefully I can get this one started like I did the other one yesterday. There we go. That'll do as I think. Don't really want to push my luck with it because it just feels like it's that kind of crappy pot metal that would just kind of snap, and that would be like a day and a half of trying to drill out a broken grease nipple zert, or you're going to call them, out of the old ball joint. Wouldn't be much fun. So it's pretty snug. That'll do us. That'll be alright. Let's do this bottom one. Already done the other side. That one actually fit really, really good. So I lucked out and actually bought the right side. Look. Okay, famous last words. As I was saying, I lucked out and bought the right sized grease nipple. I'm not going to put crooked. Come on, get in there. Oh gosh. I know, famous last words. I talked it up and now I'm having problems with it. Come on. Here we go. Just like that. If anyone's interested, that size is 1/4 inch SAE. Straight grease nipple. And they fit real good. Next up, just going to bolt this thingamy-bob on here. That's kind of my lower shock mount. I'm not sure whether this is a good thing or not, but it should work. And it's just because I was sort of using some shocks that I had, so I designed all this shock stuff around that. Kind of looks a bit podgy, but it's just really like an extension piece rather than a kind of direct mount. I don't see why it would be a problem as long as it's all snugged up tight and stuff like that, I would think. No, that's the wrong way though. Right, before I pinch that up tight, I might actually. Oh, can I do that? I don't know. Hang on, I'll try the shock in there. Alrighty, so got the shocks mounted up. I've still got to get the right bolts for the top. The bottoms are all good, I think. I just got an odd mismatched pair for the top. Started freaking out about my suspension travel with these shocks and the way I've set it all up. But after doing a little bit of calculating with the travel and stuff like that, I think we're all right. But this shiny black paint I've got leaves horrible fingerprints everywhere. So hopefully we're all right with that. Time will tell once we kind of get all the air ride in, the engine in, and we can start kind of like playing around with the movement and stuff. I'd like to figure that out before I put the front clip and that back on, so if I have to cut off shock mounts and re-weld stuff, I can do that without having to completely disassemble the whole front sheet metal and stuff like that, you know, get what I'm saying? But I think we're all right. I got the jack under the A-arm and kind of pulled it up to its ride height, which was that mark there, and I think there was another mark. I've rubbed it off now. About there was fully sort of bottomed out, so we're kind of right in the middle of our shock travel at ride height, so hopefully that's all right. So, you know, they're adjustable shocks, so I can adjust the dampening and stuff as well, and if it gets too bouncy I can firm them up. I don't know which way the dial works. It's got like 1 to 5. So there, Nismo. So I've got, actually I think I've got both of them. Should be set to about 3 straight up. I think I'll clean this side a bit better so it's harder to see the dials. Yeah, right, no, that was my knees. Yeah, so they're both set at 3 for now. So happy medium. See where that goes. Next on the agenda, I wonder if I should figure out the routing for my brake lines, hoses, yeah? Okay, hey guys, so I've got these Willwood braided brake lines, must be 18 months or so ago, ordering stuff from Summit, and I took a bit of a guess at the length I needed and the fittings and that. Seems to be alright, so now I've just got to plan my routing, where I'm going to route them. It's kind of why I wanted those shocks in place. I haven't got my bags in there obviously, so I've got a fair idea where they're going to sit, and I'm going to use the original, I don't know what you'd call it, like the brake line collar, or call it for reference, and I'm thinking of running it through these speed holes on this shock tower, if you know what I mean, rather than, because that way, because it comes right into there. In hindsight, probably shouldn't have done it this way, should have just done the shock mounts different, but yeah, I'll put these speed holes in there with the intention of maybe doing that and then kind of routing them through. But saying that, I need to put some grommets in there just to kind of protect those lines and make sure that they don't kind of like, you know, wear on that brake line sort of thing. If they kind of do, then we'll have to revisit this in another way somehow. I don't know, we'll figure it, we'll have a try anyway, see what it looks like. So I've got some grommets. I bought a lot of those kind of kits with like 150 different grommets, all different sizes, and these are 20mm grommets sort of thing, but they're blank, so I've got to punch some holes in there. So I'm just going to use a socket, a hammer on the vise, and punch some holes that I can sort of feed these through. So I might kind of just make them about the size of the fitting, so there's a little bit of wiggly room, but not too loose, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, simple little procedure. I don't know if you, this is just, I've seen this on another YouTube channel, guy doing this with punching holes in gaskets, and I thought I'd try it for grommets. It works pretty good. That's a fairly clean kind of hole, so that'll be going through there like so. And there's a little bit of play there, but it also means there's extra rubber there for protecting that brake line, and also a little bit of play so the brake line has got a little bit of movement in there, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just finish these up and then we'll go and have a go at putting them in. Alrighty, so here we're at. These are the first ones I did, and once I did them I kind of went to try and put them in the holes, and slightly too big, so I thought, it must be the next size down, so I went and punched a bunch of holes in those ones as well, and they are a little bit on the small side in the respect that they're kind of designed more for sheet metal, not sort of 3mm or 1/8 inch plate, so you can't get it to sort of spread enough to hold itself in there. So I'll have to rethink my plan on how to protect the brake line sort of thing, the flexi line. I'm thinking maybe some sort of rubber hose that I can slide over the top of the line that'll fit through there and just fix it to the line somehow, maybe with some heat shrink or something like that, just so it doesn't slide around, just to kind of create that extra shield. And then you can kind of keep an eye on it with servicing and stuff like that and see whether there's any sort of abrading or anything like that. And yeah, find maybe that method, but I don't think I've got any. I was thinking, you know, just like some sort of fibrous kind of like heater hose or fuel line or something like that that can be used to do that little protection-y thing, you know. So this is that little kit that I was talking about earlier, so I'll save them. I'll probably use them on, you know, if I run some wiring through them or something, that's alright. Find some use for them. But anyway, so I might actually just leave it at that for this video. That's as far as we got with getting some reassembly done, until I can get some rubber hose and I can do those brake lines. That's not crazy urgent. I probably shouldn't bother just yet. And still got to get some more fasteners and stuff for all the 4-link things, but I'm not ready for that yet anyways. So next up I might be looking at that. Welding up all the brackets. I've got another center to go in there and new bearings and stuff, which reminds me I've got to get a bearing puller thingamy bob to get the bearings off the center, and stuff. Anyway, I'm bambling on, and so yeah, we'll leave it at that for this video. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see some more of this mess, it's starting to not be a rusty heap of shit anymore, it's a painted rusty heap of shit. Make sure you subscribe and like, share, whatever you want to do. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time, take it easy and peace.